Okay, tonight Cole and Brady will be teaching songs of drums and Shakos, large battles.
Yes, this is the sequel to the ever popular Song of Drums and Shakos by Sergio Lalicia, I think is how you pronounce his name. And we're going to run through a half-size battle. Normally, you'll be controlling or commanding two brigades and a small reserve. This time around, we're going to just command a small brigade each of about 7 to 8 battalions and a battery of artillery apiece, under the command of a single brigade commander.
Sounds good.
All right. So probably the first thing we should do, the one thing we have not done yet, is determine the quality of our commander. So I think you have a pen there to update your commander's rating, and or to record your commander's rating, I should say. And so let's see. Getting to the French commander here. Okay, roll a single d6.
This is on the QRS.
This
right?
is on the Army list here under forming your division for pickup games, and in the all period section,
3.
okay, a 3 for your first leader is a quality 3 leader. So that means he will activate only 3 or better every time you activate the leader or issue a group order. All right. So then for the Austrians, leader 1, I roll d6 and I get a 1, which is quality 4. So my leader is not quite as active or intuitive as the French leaders, who were probably younger and more energetic. So, all right. Since you are typically the aggressor, Mr. Charles, would you go ahead and proceed? You can pick a brigade or designate a group.
Okay, so I'll select this group right here.
Okay, first of all, you'll have to roll for your brigade commander. You can roll 1, 2, or 3 dice to see how many actions he gets. And then if he gets any successful actions, he can...
2 dice.
All right. All right. 6 and a 5. They're both better than a 3 or plus. So he gets 2 actions.
Okay.
With one of those, he can issue a group order to the battalions that you had selected.
Okay, these 2.
Okay, those 2. All right. You could add more if you want. Any that are within his command radius, which is 2 medium.
So what does the 2 actions represent?
Well, 2 actions means he can use 1 to give the group order.
Right.
He could use a second to give a group order to another group of battalions, or even move the leader himself.
Okay. And what's the movement for medium?
All right. So for battalions in attack column, which is what you have there, it is 1 medium. But
I'm sorry, I probably should have said it in March, right?
Okay, all right. So you can go ahead and start in March. Well, March also moves 1 medium stick in length, but facing changes are free.
Okay.
Whereas if you're in attack column, it's still 1 medium for movement, but your facing changes will cost you an action apiece.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So who's going to be part of the first group order here?
These guys.
Those 2 battalions. All right. So now with those 2, no, you can move. You can roll 1, 2, or 3 dice on that order to see how many actions the battalions get. And your quality is going to be the quality of the commander. So it'll be 3 or better. Okay, a 1 and a 3. That means 1 successful action for that group order. So each of those battalions gets to make 1 move.
It's all the way. It's front to.
I know for the skirmish game, it's you're leapfrogging the stick, but in this one, I don't get the impression that that's true.
Okay. All right.
All right. Now you still have 1 more action for your leader. So what does he wish to do with that order?
With these guys specifically? Or?
Well, no. Those 2 battalions have been activated. They're done.
Okay.
But the leader, going back to the leader had 2 actions. He used 1 to activate those 2 battalions, and now he has 1 more action to give another group order or to move himself.
Okay, we'll select these 2 in the front.
All right. So you can roll 1, 2, or 3 dice.
2 dice.
Okay. 6 and a 3. That is now 2 actions.
Okay.
So each of those 2 battalions gets to move twice, or they can move and change facing. So for that example right there, you're also changing facing. So you're not just moving obliquely, you change facing. So that's 2 actions for them.
Okay.
If that's what you want.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Okay. Once again, let's maintain some spacing there.
Okay.
Okay. Very good. Okay. Now, one thing I should have remembered is that when you activated the first 2 battalions, there was 1 failure, which would allow me a chance to react. Now I've passed on that chance. So these 2 that you rolled here have both been successful. So now you still have not had 2 failures yet. So you can continue your turn, but this time they'll be activating individual battalions since you have no more group orders.
Okay. So
Okay.
2 on this one.
All right. Okay, a 3 and a 1. Now, what's the quality? Is that veteran or standard line infantry?
These guys are veteran.
Veteran. Okay, now veterans, I believe, are 3 or better, and plus your leader is within 2 medium, so they can actually move 1. But you had a 1, which is a failure. That gives me the chance to react.
Okay.
So that being said, I'm going to activate this battalion right here, or attempt to activate them. My line infantry have a quality of 4, so I'm looking for a 4 or better. And I rolled a 1, I failed. All right, so you get to go ahead and take the 1 activation, not a long, but 1 medium stick for that battalion.
Okay, next.
Okay, 3 and 3, that is 2 actions.
And we're going to come up and change facing a little bit.
All right.
Last one for those guys.
Okay, 3 and
1
1.
failure.
All right, another failure. So I will attempt to activate this battalion here. All right, and I rolled a 6, so that is success. So this battalion will move. It will move obliquely, so I have to maintain the same facing because I only have 1 action to do something with.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Now you still have an action with the battalion that you attempted to activate there. Okay. Actually, you started in rough going, right?
Yeah.
So their movement now will be reduced to short range.
Okay, so that's okay. We're just going up to there.
Which is fine because they don't have a whole lot of room to move. Now you still have your dragoons, and you also have your artillery that you can move if you wish.
Artillery.
Okay, 5 and a 3. Their quality is 4 or better. So, but actually your commander is should be within 2 medium there.
Okay.
Measure.
Yep.
Okay, so that 3 becomes a 4, so they can move. Okay.
And cavalry.
All right. All right, 6 and a 1. All right, that's another failure. So now I get to activate again. However, this battalion here has already successfully reacted, so I cannot choose him again for reaction.
Okay.
The first time I chose him, he failed, and so the next time I had an opportunity, I picked him again. That time it was successful. But now that he's been successful, I need to select another battalion in order to react to your failure. So I'm going to pick this one right here.
Okay.
Rolling, I scored a 1, so I failed. All right, so you
now
can
you
proceed
cannot
with your...
attempt with him again, right? He's attempted.
Well,
failed, right?
if you still had, well, with the dragoons here, your turn will be over. But let's say you had more units to move and you had another failure, I could go back and select him again because he was not successful the first time.
Okay.
Okay, but anyways, you still have 1 action with your dragoons, and then that will be it.
Okay, so my dragoons, how can they change facing and start going across?
Okay. Changing facing would, like to wheel, for example, is your one action.
Okay.
So you can go up to 90 degrees if you wish. All right, that's fine. And then next turn, or if I have a failure and you have a chance to react, you can pick them to attempt to move. So, all right. So at this point, since you're done with all your movements, if we were playing with a full division, you would be able to move towards switch getting orders to your other brigade, or even to your commander-in-chief to give orders to the units in the reserve. Okay, since we're using only a half a division here, that's the end of your turn. All right, so proceeding to my turn over here, I am going to start by trying to give, to activate my leader, hopefully getting some actions I could use to give a group order to these units in march column on the road. So my leader is a quality 4 leader. I'm going to roll 2 dice. I rolled a 3 and a 2. That, my friend, is 2 failures. Okay, now trying to activate the leader does not cause reactions on your part, but I had 2 failures at the beginning of my turn. That is the end of my turn. Since I don't have any other brigades, I cannot activate them. So play reverts to the French.
Okay. Going for the leader. 3s are better. 1 success. You do not get
1
a reaction.
failure.
Yep.
So I do have a chance to react. Now this time, because it's a new turn,
Right.
I will attempt to react with this unit right here, because I wish to wheel him to face the oncoming Frenchman. And I roll, and I get a 1, so they fail. All right, but you got your action, so go ahead and use it.
So one group can.
Well, or who are you activating there? I'm sorry.
We'll do the cavalry. I probably should have declared that before.
Yes, you're supposed to declare it first, but go ahead and use the cavalry.
Okay.
Now, if they're crossing the stream, yeah, reduce it to medium. That's good.
Usually low.
Okay. Very good. Okay, so that they're done. So who's next?
All right. So this group here.
The battalion?
Yeah.
Okay.
So 2 dice.
Okay. 4 and a 2. All right. 4 is a success. 2 is a failure. I get another chance to react. So again, with the same battalion here. All right. I got a 3, but my quality is a 4, and the leader is way over here. So the leader does not improve their quality any. So again, they fail to react. They're sitting there eating bratwurst and singing the Horst Wessel song or something, and
So
nothing
my action
happens.
is to change formation.
Your action to change formation. Okay, very, very good. Okay. All right, who is next?
All right. These guys right here.
Okay. All right, 4 to 5 is 2 successes.
So I can't change to line here because I'll be within.
You would be too
1.
close. That's correct.
But can I change the line on this side? I know I'm too
No,
close
because
to
then
this
you'd be
guy.
too close to that one. So
Okay. So I'd have to do.
you may wish to move forward and then change formation. Okay. All right, very good. That was your 2 actions.
These guys.
All right. Okay, a 4 and a 6 is 2
successes.
actions, 2 successes.
So I'd like to wheel.
All right.
And is that automatic or? I know you did a step a second ago.
Well, if you wish to wheel,
Well,
that's
you're in line too. That's right.
actually, because you're in march column, wheeling is free.
Okay.
So, but now the thing is, if you're going to go across the stream, you're going to be down to short. Okay, but you have 2 actions, and the wheel does not cost anything because you're in march column.
Okay.
Okay, but so if you wanted to, you could move 2 short distances and possibly get across both streams there.
Yeah, I think it would be in the stream no matter what.
Yeah, unless you turn even further, because when you're in march column, again, wheeling is free and you can wheel as much as you wish.
Okay.
Or as far as you wish, I should say.
All right, so I've got 2 actions now.
Yes.
I can come up and then change formation.
Okay. All right, so now you're in attack column and you're in the stream. Okay.
Which just slows us down. It doesn't affect anything else.
Well, if you're in the stream and somebody else is not in the stream, then that person would get like an extra dice in combat, for example. Okay.
All right. And these guys.
Okay.
Go to 2.
Okay, 3 and a 1. All right, so you have 1 failure and 1 success, because those are veteran troops, correct?
No, these are regular.
Oh, those are regular, so their quality is 4, but your leader is close by. He's within 2 medium, which is his command radius. So their 3 becomes a 4, which it matches their quality.
So you get a reaction.
But I get a reaction. So I'm going to pick this battalion over here in behind and attempt to move him up. 4. All right. So I am successful in moving them up. I just need to make sure that I maintain minimum distance. One of the things I like about these rules is that if you have to maintain minimum spacing, So you're not just bunching everybody up, and it looks very un-Napoleonic.
So since I'm in this formation, I can turn for free?
You can turn, well, first of all, have you rolled to activate them? Or is that
Yeah.
that's the action you got?
One
Yes, so
pass,
you
one fail.
can turn them as much as you wish, and then you still have one action.
I already moved him.
All right, so you already moved him. Okay, perfect. All right, who's next?
These guys here.
Okay.
Already kind of screwed up. Did I do the cavalry already? I think I did.
Yes, you started with them.
Okay, so I'll do these guys here.
All right. Okay, 3 and a 1. Once again, one failure.
Your reaction?
All right, my reaction. I'm going to attempt to react with this battalion here on the road. Okay, now to 3. Their quality is a 4. However, the leader is very close to them, so he boosts their quality, or actually boosts the die roll from a 3 to a 4, managing their quality. So I'm going to move them 1 medium stick further down the road, and then you still have your 1 action.
Okay. Up there. And turn for free.
All right, who's next?
This guy's here.
All right. Okay, 1-1. All right, so now
Failure.
2 failures, so I get 2 reactions, and then your turn is over. So my 2 reactions, I'm going to attempt, and I have to use my 2 reactions on 1 unit. So I'm going to try to activate my hussars over here, which are, I can't believe I forgot to write it down. So I believe they are quality 3, but I'll check this if I get close here. All right, a 2 and a 4. The 2 would become a 3 within the range of the leader. So I'm just going to check that. My apologies to the people watching this on YouTube.
I'm sure they don't mind.
All right, it's the difference between 1 and 2 movements. Okay, so the hussars are actually, they're actually quality 4, combat 5. So the 2 becomes a 3, but that's not good enough for them, so they only get to move on the 4. So, all right, I'm going to move forward in an oblique fashion towards the dragoons I see crossing the stream. All right, so that was my reaction. Now it is my proper turn. All right, so once again, I'm going to pick a unit to activate. I think first of all, I'm going to try to activate this battalion here by itself. It's quality 4, but if I get a 3 or better, with the proximity of the leader, they will be able to activate. All right, so because the leader is within 2 medium, the 3 becomes a 4, and with the 6, that's 2. That is 2 actions. All right, so 1 to move forward, and I can move up to 1 more, but I think I will move only this far, with the idea being that I don't want to get too close to you and expose myself there. All right.
Now, if I wanted to shift my formation to this, I keep doing that. Can I step over in this game, or is it?
No. That would be sideways movement, which is always reduced movement. So you can't. In other words, you're not picking up this over here. Right. You're actually moving the troops in this direction.
How far?
However, you are number 1. You're in attack column, so which is normally 1 medium stick. Because you're in the stream, you're reduced to short. And then if you're moving sideways, you can be reduced 1 further to 1 very short stick.
Okay. For every obstacle, you just go down a step.
Well, right. For every source of reduction, you would go down 1. All right. Next, I'm going to activate. I'm going to try to activate the leader here. Rolling 2 dice. Okay, a 4 and a 2. Now the 2 is a failure, so you get to react on that. So where do you wish to react?
Try to react here.
Okay, you roll 1 die because I had 1 failure.
Right. Is there pre-measuring in this game?
There is pre-measuring in this game, yes.
And the length of the shot.
Well, remember, there's really no shooting. To attack someone, you have to get within 1 short stick of someone to begin the approach and contact step. Well, again, only 1 die.
So they're both passes?
They both pass, so you get one action.
Well, I'm actually not within 2 mediums of my leader.
And they are a standard infantry or veteran
These
infantry?
guys are standards.
Okay, so they're quality 4.
Yeah, so
all right, so they fail. All right, however, I did get one action, so the leader is going to issue a group order to these 2 battalions. Now, for their activation, it's not their normal quality plus the leader bonus. For the group actions, I'm actually just rolling against the leader's quality.
Okay.
So it's still a 4 or better. And I rolled a 4 and a 6. So that is 2 successful actions.
Nice.
All right, so in march column, they're just going to go a medium and then another medium. Okay, so I'll have that regiment over there. This unit is going to go one action there, and then start going off in this direction on this side of the woods. And again, I have to maintain minimum spacing from the cavalry unit. Okay. All right, you may notice I just bumped the leader off there just because there is no stacking in miniatures. All right, so I moved everything on this side of the stream except for the cavalry and the artillery. So I'm going to attempt to move the artillery first, and I'm going to roll 2 dice. 3 and 4. Now the 3 is, well, hold on a second here. My leader is within 2 medium of the artillery, so the artillery do get to move twice. All right. Again, I'm moving crabwise here because they are considered to be limbered. I haven't painted the limbers yet, but I will. And artillery can get closer to infantry and cavalry, so they don't count for proximity. All right, so the cavalry, though, I'm going to try to activate them. And once again, remember that they're quality 4. So I have to roll 4 or better. Or with the leader, 3 or better. All right, I have a 4 and a 3. The 3 becomes a 4, the proximity of the leader. And so they get to go twice.
Charge!
All right, so I'm going to do that. And I think I'm going to change direction. So in this game, like all of Ganesha games, if you wish to change direction, or all movement must be in a straight line,
right?
Either straight ahead or I don't know, oblique. So if you wish to change direction in your movement, you have to have more than one action. Okay. And of course, Charles and I know that because we've been playing a lot of the skirmish game. But we're just providing that information to those of you watching who may not have played any Ganesha games. All right, so now I'm on the village side of the stream, and I wish to activate this battalion right here. And so let's see, I'm going to activate them with 2 dice. All right, a 6 and a 1. Now the 1 is a failure, so the French player gets to react with 1 die. Who is going to react?
These guys.
Okay. 4. All right, so they do get to activate.
Oops, actually, it's a medium, right?
It's medium in attack column. However, if you're going across the stream, you're going to be down to short. Unless you go, just stop right there. All right, very good. Okay, so in fact, yeah, you'll have to go back just a little bit more because on your reaction, short range is approach distance,
right?
And infantry cannot go into approach distance on a reaction. Cavalry, however, can. If cavalry is reacting, cavalry can then countercharge anybody who's activating. So, in fact, anybody on the board. So, all right, so my 1 action that I'm going to use for that, in this case here, I do wish to make an attack. So I'm going in attack column. Now I'm going to be down to short range to do this. So I'm just going to move forward. All right, and so now I am within short distance of the French line here. All right, so this is where we'll resolve our first combat action. All right, moving within short distance is the only time that you can move within very short of friends or somebody else. All right, so in this case here, we're going to resolve the approach by adding up our dice. Attack columns get 3 dice. Then you also get an extra dice if you have more skirmishers than the other fellow. So my skirmish rating is 0. Your skirmish rating, I believe, is 1 for all of your troops.
Oh,
all right. So first of all, Charles, put out 3 dice for the fact that you're in attack column.
Okay.
Okay. And then you're putting out an extra die because you have more skirmishers. Now the other thing is, then you can also compare combat values. I have a combat value of 6. Your combat value, I believe, is either 4 or 5.
5.
Okay, I actually get an extra die for that because it's actually representing that in the early period, the Austrians had the biggest battalions.
Are we looking at these, or are we looking at these?
We're looking at this guy right here. This is the one I'm approaching. I'm not facing you over there.
Okay.
All right, so far I see that we have 4
These
dice.
are the regulars, these are the bets. Just
okay, all right. So let's go ahead and roll our dice, and the way this works is we're going to go and roll our dice and then arrange our dice from highest to lowest.
Yahtzee.
All right, so highest to lowest, the Austrian dice are 6, 4, and 2.
All right.
Anything past the 3rd dice is considered quote unquote extra dice.
Okay.
And they're useful for breaking ties. All right, so I'm going to match up my highest dice, my medium dice, and my lowest dice against what Charles has rolled. All right, so in the approach, the first die determines if somebody takes a disruption. So the Austrians have rolled a 6, the French have rolled a 5. That means that the French take 1 disruption. And I'm going to mark that here with a little marker. I've got a blue bead there. All right, so that's going to represent 1 disruption. Later on in the game, we're going to use yellow for 2 and red for 3. And on the 4th disruption, battalion or regiment is removed from play. Okay. All right, the second die and the 3rd die determines who gets an action. So I have a 4, the French have a 5, so the French have gained 1 action. The 3rd die is a 2 Austrian to 1 French, so the Austrians get an action. All right, so that means the French have an action, you can do something first. So that means you could retreat first, you could change formation if you could go to line here, or you can just save the action for the combat.
Can't shoot?
Well, no, the shooting was the first die here, and actually I outshot you, so you actually took a disruption there.
Okay, I'll save the action.
You'll save the action. All right. So then I'm going to use my action to continue moving into contact here.
Okay.
All right. So let's go ahead and move to the close combat. All right. So once again, we are attack columns, so it's 3 dice apiece.
Okay.
All right. I also now at this point skirmishers do not have any effect because they've been recalled. But higher combat gives me an extra die there, and the fact that I have that you have a disruption gives me an extra die there. You saved one of your actions that you gained during the approach, so you add an extra die.
So my combat is a 5, and your combat's a what?
6.
Okay.
All right, because of the size of the battalion. Even though you actually got more figures here, the Austrians had bigger battalions.
Okay.
But add an extra die for the action that you saved during the approach. All right, so 5 Austrian dice to 4 French dice. Let's roll the dice. All right, and we're going to, again, arrange dice from highest to lowest.
Good.
All right, so the French did much better in the contact than they did in the approach. All right, so and this 4 is an extra die here. All right, the first die is a French 6 to an Austrian 4. The first die determines who wins. So the French have actually won the combat. Then the second die tells who takes a disruption. French 5 to an Austrian 4, that means the Austrians take a disruption in the contact. All right, at this point, because the Austrians have lost the combat, the Austrians are going to retreat 1 medium stick directly to their rear. Okay, and then what's going to happen is on the 3rd die then, because the winner has beat the loser on the 3rd die, from pursuit, I take an additional disruption. So now the Austrians are at 2 disruptions for that battalion. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So that is the end of that activation for that battalion. It's still my turn, so I will activate the next unit. All right. I'm going to attempt to activate this battalion right here. And a 1 and a 2. I have 2 failures. The French get to react with any unit on the board with 2 dice, and then it will be the French turn.
React here.
Okay.
Qualities 4.
Yes.
3.
Okay.
1 success, 1 failure.
1 success, 1 failure. Okay. Now, just a point of order. Because Charles is rolling on his reaction, his failure does not give me a reaction. So anyways, you just get your 1 action, 1 medium, because you're coming out of the stream there. Okay. And I don't think we're within a short distance, are we?
Nope.
Right, because that would be an approach. Yeah, although you could actually approach me if you could reach me. So, because cavalry can approach on a reaction. All right, that was 2 failures for the Austrians. It is now the French turn.
So last turn, it seemed like you activated the leader individually before you did his group activation. Is that correct?
Right. If you wish to use the leader to activate a group, you need to roll for the leader first to see if he gets any actions, and then he can use one of those actions to issue a group order.
Okay, so I'm going to try to get him up into the heat of the battle.
All right. Go ahead and roll him.
So I can do 1, 2, or 3 dice, right?
That is correct. Yes.
2
1 and
failures.
2 failures. All right. That is a turnover. Too bad.
I hate this game.
I know. That happened to me.
It was going good a second ago.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, and also another point of order is that failures on activating a leader do not give reactions to the other side. All right. So I am going to attempt to activate this battalion right here, and what I'm hoping to do, well, actually, I cannot recover. I can't rally within 1 medium of the enemy. So my idea of activating them to recover some of that disruption is not going to work unless I activate him and I am able to pull him out of the action. So I think that's what I am going to try to do. But first, I'm going to try to move some other battalions. All right, so I'm going to activate this battalion over here. 2 dice, trying to get a 4 better. 2 and a 3. The leader here is too far away from them. So these 2 failures give the French 2 reactions, and then it will be the French turn again.
All right, so we're going to move here.
Okay. Roll 2 dice. Okay, 5 and 5. You get to move up to attack me, and then you also will get an action to save, to either add an extra dice to the approach, or you can even save it for contact.
Okay.
What do you wish to do?
Oh, I can only move within short of you, right?
Right, you move within short, and then we resolve the approach.
Okay.
So it's 1 action for the approach.
Now, can I snake and try to get to you from the side?
No, because you didn't start far enough to the side there. So you would have to wheel, move to the side, and then wheel again to approach me.
Okay.
All right. However, so let me take a look at the dice that we will get in the approach here. All right. So cavalry. I am light cavalry, so I will get 4 dice. You are medium cavalry, so you get dragoons get 5 dice. Okay. Now, if you wish, you can also add the extra dice that you've earned, or save it for the combat. You're going to add it. All right, so you're going to roll 6 dice to my 4. Let's resolve the approach.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
Oh, I like that.
So I got 6. Holy cow. And 6. And 3. All right. Okay, so here is how we resolve. This will be very interesting here because we have the French have
wow.
The French have a lot of
They
extra
chose to roll
dice.
3 sixes.
All right, so the very first die is a 6 to a 6. That means that we each of us take a disruption. Okay, so both of us are, because we're both in our front arcs there, we're both going to take a disruption here.
Okay.
Okay. The second die is also a 6 to a 6. Now, for the second and third dice on this one, ties do not give any results, so we have to break ties if we can. So I add a 3 to the 6, makes it a 9. The French have to add their next highest die, which is also a 3. So we have a 9 to, we still have a 9 to a 9. So the second die does not generate any extra actions. But the third die is a French 6 to an Austrian 6. The Austrians don't have any more extra dice to add to break the tie, but the French do. So the French get one action out of the approach. So that's just enough to allow the French Dragoons to charge home. So move them into contact, and let's resolve it now. Okay. All right, so no more extra actions for you, but you still get 5 actions because you are Dragoons.
5 actions or 5 dice?
Or, I'm sorry, 5 dice, right?
Okay.
You get 5 dice. Now, because I have a disruption, you get an extra die, so you're going to roll 6 dice. The Austrians have 4 dice for being light cavalry, and then 1 extra die for the disruption on the French Dragoons. So 5 Austrian dice to 6 French dice. All right, so Austrians are 5, 2, 2, and then a couple of 1s.
I'm glad that happened last turn with the 3-way tie because I was wondering what's the advantage of having the extra dice if
yes. Okay. All right, so let me put them in order to face off on yours. All right. So, in contact, the very first die is a French 6 to an Austrian 5. The Austrians have lost the combat. Now, with the 5 to a 2, the French cause disruptions on the Austrians, and because they are the winners and they have doubled the Austrian roll on this second die, because double of 2 is 4, so the Austrians suffer not 1 but 2 disruptions. So they go from 1 to 3. Okay, the Austrians, having lost the contact, will retreat. Cavalry retreat 1 long distance. All right. Then we also look at the fact that the third die is a French 5 to an Austrian 2. The losers who have retreated have also lost the third die, so pursuit is another disruption. This wipes out the Austrian hussars. Okay, does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, so they took
the pursuit is automatic. This automatic wipeout.
Right. However, if I had won the third die, or if it was a tie, well, with a tie you would have had extra dice to break it. But if I had won the third die, I would not have taken a loss on pursuit. Okay, so I took a loss in the approach, okay, in the initial skirmishing. Then when you charged home, I lost the combat. I was double on the second tie, which is 2 more disruptions, and pursuit is the fourth disruption here. Okay, all right, and that was your reaction. Okay, only cavalry can actually attack during a reaction. That was your reaction. Now it is your turn.
So going back to the basics of the song systems.
Yes.
Rolling 1 die.
Yes.
Pass or fail. Rolling 2 dice. 2 failures means your turn's over. 1 success means you get 1 action. And then if you roll 3 dice, you can have 1 pass. 2 failures means your turn over. 2 passes means you get 2 actions. And then 3 actions mean you get 3 actions. So
correct.
Very cool.
Exactly.
System. I like it. All right, so going back to the leader, we're going to roll 2 dice from again. And we've got 1 pass and 1 failure.
1 pass, 1 failure. All right, very good. So first of all, I do get a reaction.
Okay.
Now here's the thing: is if in any place on the board there is a proximity violation, I have to use my first reaction to fix it by moving a unit either laterally or to the rear. So I could move this guy, this battalion here, a little bit to the right to get him out of the way, but instead I'll just take this battalion and move him just back a little bit there. All right, go ahead and proceed with your 1 success.
Okay, so he moves long?
Yes.
Technically,
and he can actually move too long for leaders.
Okay.
All right.
So that was for the lone leader, and now I roll for the group activation for.
Well, no, because the leader had 1 action, and he used that to move.
Okay.
So he didn't have any actions left over to give a group order. So you can still activate people, but they'll have to be activated one battalion at a time.
All right, so we'll start with the artillery.
All right.
Let's see, and this is a problem where if you activate from the back, you're going to bump into people. So maybe I'll start.
Well, yeah, but artillery, yeah, you can actually move through friendly units, but when you're done, you're supposed to maintain a spacing of one very short, unless you're artillery. Artillery can be touching even infantry or cavalry.
Let's try these guys here
Okay.
first. So we're going to do 2 and 2 successes.
Okay, very good.
Those guys are.
Yeah, it should be quality 3 if they're all veterans.
They're quality 4.
Quality 4.
These aren't veterans. Oh, I'm sorry, they are veterans.
They are veterans. Yeah. Well, even if they're not, the leader is so close, he bumps the 3 up to a 4, so they get 2 actions anyway.
Okay. And let's see, it was two actions. Can I wheel?
Yes, you can.
All right, I think that's good enough.
All right. Who's next?
These guys here.
Okay. Ooh,
Failure.
2 failures. All right. I'm going to attempt to move this battalion right here. All right. I roll a 5 and a 6, so I'm successful on 2 dice. So what I'm going to do is use 1 action to about face this battalion. And then with my second action, I'm going to charge into the woods to get away from you. Going into the woods puts me at reduced speed, so I'm going to be going from medium to short.
Okay.
And trying to maintain spacing as best I can. All right, I'm going to try to get away and maybe rally if I can get to the other side of the woods.
There is no reloading in this first fight.
There is for artillery.
Okay.
So if you shoot with artillery, it does take an action to reload the battery. All right, so you failed on 2 dice, so that means play turns over to the Austrian side. All right, so let's see here. I'm going to try activating the artillery here. Okay, a 4 and a 2. So the 4 is 1 action. I am going to
get a reaction?
Use discretion. Yes, you actually do get a reaction. So
we're trying to react with my artillery, and that's 2 dice?
1 die, because I failed on 1 die. 5, so they get 1 action.
All right, so they're going to squirrel. You said they move medium?
Medium, yes.
Let's come this way. That is through the rough. So that means they're reduced down a step?
That is correct, yes.
Okay.
All right, and for my successful reaction, I will unlimber, facing your cavalry. Alrighty. Next action will be this battalion over here. I'm going to roll 2 dice. All right, 4 and a 2. You get a reaction before I get to act with my battalion.
I'll react with these
Okay,
guys.
1 die. 2. All right, they failed. All right, so my action is going to be to change formation because I do not wish to be in march column if I am attacked. All right. All right, I'm going to try to activate this battalion right here.
Okay.
2 dice. Okay. 6 and a 1. Again, 1 is a failure. 6 is a success. So you get a reaction.
The horses again.
Okay. 5. Now they successfully react. All right. Where do you wish to move them?
And I must move straight forward if I'm going to move.
If you're going to move, you move straight forward. Yes. Or you can oblique. Or if you wish, you can. So you can oblique up to 45 degrees.
I'll do that.
All right, so they're going to turn in first. Okay. All right, so then this battalion right here gets to go.
And the oblique is the action itself.
Well, oblique would be to move off in this direction, maintaining the same facing. See?
Okay.
Okay. All right, but this battalion right here is going to move forward.
So if they were like this and I wanted to oblique, is that an oblique?
No, no, no. Oblique, it would be.
I'm getting another game confused.
Right. Oblique is at a 45-degree angle like this.
Okay.
Okay, where you maintain the same facing, but you're moving it
Wow.
at 40 up to a 45-degree angle rather than just straight ahead.
Right. And does that reduce the amount?
No, it's not a reduction in the distance they can go.
Okay.
All right, but wheeling takes the whole action.
Okay.
All right. Then let's see, this battalion right here. 2 actions. All right, I got a 5 and a 1, so I get another failure. That gives you another chance to react. Cavalry have successfully reacted though, so they cannot react again.
All right, so we'll react
Okay.
here.
All right, so 1 die. 2. All
Yeah.
right. All right, but are they veterans or are they conscripts? Or
Those are regulars.
those are regulars. All right, so they would need a 4, so even with a 2 going to a 3 because of the leader, that would not be enough.
All these ones with white rocks are the
Are the veterans?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, very good. All right, so this okay, this battalion here, I think I will. I think I will move him off in this direction here, back down the road. Okay. All right. Then some other battalions here. All right, I'm going to attempt to react with this, or activate rather, this battalion right here. I'm going to activate with 3 dice because I really need to get him out of there. All right, so I roll 3 dice. I roll a 6, a 4, and a 3. The 3 is a failure, so you get to react on that.
Okay.
On somebody that has not activated yet, or has not activated successfully. So, for example, these guys failed, so if you wish, you could activate them.
Gonna activate here.
Okay, 1 die. 1, okay, that's a failure. All right, so I'm going to start moving him back through the woods. Again, it's going to be 1 short. All right, so at this point here, I am over 1 long from the enemy, and so for my second action, I am going to rally by reducing his disruptions from 2 to 1. Okay, with infantry, I can only reduce down to 1 disruption. I can never remove that first disruption. Okay, once a unit has been bloodied, it will always have at least 1 disruption in the game. Okay, done with that battalion. Next battalion will be this fellow here. That'll be 2 dice. Okay, a 6 and a 4 gives me 2 actions. All right. All right, so I'm going, this is an oblique move. Okay, I don't want to make it too wide, but 45 degrees would be about right there. Maintain the same facing. Okay. And all right, and then at that point, for my second action, I'm going to go into line formation. Attack column. Okay.
I can see why you like the basing of 3. Like
I do. Well, because I also get more battalions up for less painting. So
yeah.
I guess I've gotten fatigued after all the like 10 years of painting Napoleonics. For Napoleon's battles, when it was 24 figures per battalion, now I have half as many figures to get 1 battalion. All right, I still have some Landwehr Insurrectio over here. These are quality 5 troops, so very loath to move. This guy right here, rolling, I scored a 1, so that's 1 failure. You get to react with somebody.
I'm going to react here.
Okay.
Failure.
Okay. All right, and then this fellow right here, I'm going to try to react with him. All right, I should regard a 1, so you get to react.
Same guy.
4. All right, so he does get to move.
So we would like to wheel.
All right. Okay, very good. Okay, that is it for my turn because I have no more battalions or regiments or batteries to move. So, French, go ahead and proceed.
All right. group activations. So I select which ones I'm selecting for a group activation.
Well, if you want to do a group activation, a couple things to keep in mind. Group activations will not allow you to attack. They're really good for moving people in the backfield forward. So if you wish to attack, you would need to activate battalions one at a time.
Okay, I'm going to activate these guys using the group
All right.
activations.
So to do that, first of all, you need to roll for the leader to see how many actions he gets.
2.
Okay. Very good. A 4 and a 6. So he's got an action to give as a group order. All right. So for the 4 battalions back there. All right. So and then now remember, he's still got 1 action. You can even put a die next to him to make you remember that. All right. So for the other 4 battalions back there, you can roll 1, 2, or 3 dice against your leader's quality. How much do you want to risk it?
Let's see. We'll do 2 dice here.
Okay, a 1 and a 3.
1 pass.
Well, okay, no, I'm sorry. Oh, you're rolling for the entire group. So 1 and a 3 is 1 success. So every one of those battalions that you selected gets 1 action.
Okay.
Okay, and remember, when they're in march column, facing changes are free, so you can just move them in whatever direction you wish.
Okay. Your reaction?
Yes, my reaction. I'm going to attempt to react with this battalion here. Okay, and I get a 5. I'm going to use that to go into square because I see cavalry about.
What?
I'm going into square.
Okay.
All right. So, all right, go ahead and make your 1 move with every one of your battalions.
Okay, so here first, we're reduced down to short.
Okay, I didn't think the artillery was part of it, though. Are we including the artillery?
Well, initially I said everybody on the backfield.
Okay.
Back here.
Oh, okay.
And then you said the 4.
Oh, okay. Well, no, if you meant to include the artillery, go ahead and move them. I didn't understand. So go ahead.
Okay.
Very good.
Right. And then these guys are medium. Do not like the way this is kind of bunching up here.
Right. It is very congested.
Oops. Instead of doing that, I think I'm going to go to line here.
Okay. Facing to the rear or facing forward? This. There you go. Very good. Okay. Okay.
Okay, so those guys are done. And now, where'd your horses go? Were those?
Where'd my?
Oh, I thought you had more horses coming in off the
No. These are just my casualties. I just moved them off there.
You said them there facing,
I know.
and I was like,
I'm sorry.
No. I said I did not see those earlier. That's why I turned to face this, which is
okay.
totally fine. I was like, oh, I see them coming.
You just saw some dust over here.
Exactly.
All right. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
I did not do that on purpose, but it does make for a funny story.
It does.
All right.
All right. So we will activate for here using 2 dice.
Okay, 6 and 3, which with proximity to the leader gives them 2 actions. So if you wish, you can move forward, getting to approach distance, and then we can fight it out.
Yeah. I'll be in the stream though.
That's fine.
All right. So approach distance.
Right. Okay. So all right. So let's go ahead and lay out our dice here. Lines get 3 dice. Attack columns get lines get 4 dice. Attack columns get 3.
So those guys are veterans.
All right.
They got the rock. All right.
Okay. All right. Well, but the fact is, their formation is attack column, so they get 3 dice.
Okay.
Okay. All right, now you have better skirmishers, so you get an extra die for that.
Okay.
Okay. I get, because my combat is a 6. Again, the large Austrian battalions, that's an extra die for me there. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and actually, you had one more action, didn't you? You had 2 actions.
Right.
All right, so if you want, you can use that action to add an extra die here, or you can save it for the contact.
I'll save it.
Let's save it. Okay, so you're 4 French dice to my 5 Austrian dice.
Yeah. French dice are much better, anyways.
Yes, they are. All right.
All right. 5, 4, 5.
Okay. So the Austrians have a 5, 4, and a 3 with a couple of extra dice here. The French have a 5, 5, 4 with 1 extra dice. All right. So the first die is a tie.
Right.
In the approach phase, that means that both sides take a disruption.
Okay.
Okay. If you're approaching somebody from the flank, then the person approaching from the flank does not suffer a disruption, even if it's a tie or the unit being flanked happens to roll a higher die. Because you have to be, if you think of it, they have to be within each other's fire zone. Okay, so this is like your long-range volleys, skirmishing, and that sort of thing. All right, the second die is a French 5 to an Austrian 4. So the French get an action for the second die. There's no need for the extra die. And then the third die is a French 4 to an Austrian 3. The French get an action for that. So the French have got 2 actions in the approach, and they also still have 1 extra action from when they first activated. So the French actually have 3 actions now. They can use 1 to move into contact. Just move into contact.
Now that stream, is that
where I would get 1 extra die for better terrain.
Okay.
Okay. But of the 3 actions, you've used 1 to close into contact.
Right.
You will get 2 dice for the other 2 extra actions. All right. So again, let's add up the dice. So the Austrians have 4 dice for being in line. Skirmishers don't do anything at this point. I have an extra die for higher combat value, combat 6 to combat 5. And then I have an extra die for the 1 French disruption. Okay, the French now have 3 dice for being an attack column. Let's go ahead and put them out here.
Oops, I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah. 3 dice for being an attack column. They get 1 die for the Austrian disruption, and then 2 dice, for, yeah, we'll keep him there because he's got an extra. Actually, no, he's done. All right, and then 2 dice for the 2 extra actions that you gained in the approach phase. Okay. All right, so we have 6 French dice to 6 Austrian dice. Let's go ahead and roll them. Okay. All right, so the top 3 French dice is 6, 5, 4. The top 3 Austrian dice is 5, 5, 4. Okay. All right, so in the first die, the French win again. So the French win the combat. All right. On the second die, it is a 5 to a 5, which is a tie. So we break the tie with our highest unused die. Okay, so the Austrians add a 4, the French add a 3. So at this point, the Austrians have got a 9 to the French 8. So the French actually take another disruption. Okay, so the Austrians have lost. The Austrians are going to retreat from the combat, but they've actually inflicted more losses on the French on the way in. All right, so the Austrians are going to withdraw. They were in line, but when they're withdrawing, they have to go back into attack column formation. Okay, and they are going to go back 1 medium stick. And then we'll see what the third die has in store. All right, now the third die is a 4 to 4, which is a tie. We break that tie with the highest unused dice, 3 for the Austrians, 2 for the French. The Austrians have won the third die. So as the retreating force, the Austrians do not suffer any additional disruptions. Okay, so the Austrians came off much, much better in that combat than the cavalry did in the last time we met, but they also did some damage to the French there. All right, so that is it. The French have taken the ground, but it's heavy losses. All right, who's next?
Here.
Okay. Okay, 2 and a 5. All right, so that gives us one failure because those are okay. So who is activating next?
So he activated. Yeah, I just rolled for him. You did your reaction.
Right, so he has one action. He can move one short through the stream. Okay, and I'm taking his disruption with him.
Okay. And those guys.
Okay. All right, now just so you know, the only time cavalry can approach a square is if that square is at 3 disruptions, basically 1 disruption away from breaking. However, now you've already moved these guys, but if I stay in square, they're more vulnerable to infantry. Okay. But if you're going to activate the dragoons, you might think of looking for another target.
What's the range on those artillery?
Okay, the artillery can fire up to 3 long sticks,
Okay.
and it's more effective at shorter range. Actually need to make a 3 long range stick for these guys.
So my question for these guys is, where's a good safe place to get them out of the way besides running backwards?
Well, okay, the field of fire for artillery is straight ahead.
Right.
So if you can get out of this corridor,
probably
then you'll be safer. Yes.
All right, so we'll do a move with 2.
2 dice. Okay, so 1 die or 1 success, 1 failure.
Yeah.
All right. So okay. So the first thing I have to do is I have to do something about this proximity violation. So
Okay.
I will move this unit further to the rear and out of the range.
Yeah, in our line-based battle that we did with Robert, the proximity violations were really key. Like once the battle started happening.
Yes, because that means you have to use up your reactions to take care of that.
Yeah. This one not so much, just because everything's kind of spread out.
Yes, and even though the terrain is more dense, the fact that we're using fewer troops makes it easier, I think.
So we'll move these guys over here.
Okay, well, all right, hold on a second here. Yeah, move them back to where they were.
Yeah.
Okay, these guys are in line, so if they're going to change direction, they're going to either going sideways, which would be at a medium stick distance.
Okay.
Okay, so I think you probably can't make it if you use the medium stick. Now that's the long stick, so use the medium stick.
Yeah.
If you can move them sideways like that. All right, so there you go. That's how you would measure it in going in that direction.
Okay.
All right, so I think you still have some units to activate.
I do. These guys done.
Okay, and then I think that is that disruption belong to the cavalry.
Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
Because they did get into combat.
And then these guys.
Okay. Yeah, they realize
Since
there is no cavalry threat over here.
That was a mirage.
Yeah.
2
successes. 2 successes. Fantastic.
So we're going to wheel.
Okay. Okay, and you still got 1 action that you can make.
Then we'll medium up. But we're going to cross the border. So we'll get right to the edge.
Just right there. There you go. Nice.
That's it.
Okay. All right. Okay, that's it for your turn. Eh? Okay. So let me go ahead and start activating some units here. I'm going to start with activating this battalion right here. 2 actions, or 2 dice rather. 4 and a 2. I have 1 failure. So actually, with 1 failure, you can activate with somebody. Just keep in mind, our infantry cannot move into approach distance on a reaction. Okay, I know it would be very tempting to move in there, but
I'll do this, guys.
all right. So go ahead and roll him. Okay, 4. He gets an action, so he can go 1 short across the stream.
Over the river and into the woods.
To Grandma's house we go. To the Emperor's house we go. So with my one action, I'm going to return to attack column formation.
Nice.
And that way I'll be ready for an infantry assault. Now I'll just have to take my chances on a cavalry assault, see if I actually get a chance to react. All right, so that's it for that battalion there. Let's see here. All right, if I do, okay, these two, if I activate my leader, I could try to give them an order. So I'm going to roll for my leader here.
In this particular
4
version
and
of
6.
the game,
Yes.
it does not seem like a good idea to ever roll one die. Right.
Why is that?
Just because you're either going to pass or you're going to fail.
Right.
And if you get that failure, you're going to lose that unit's activation anyways, right?
Well, yes, but you will still have a chance to activate it with other units. It's the same trade-off that you have in the skirmish game.
Yeah. So
how-
there's no way to fail in the turn if you roll one dice.
That's right. That's right.
Okay.
So, for example, if I was going to lead with my Insurrectio, my Landwehr troops here, their quality is a 5. It's very risky to try to move them. If I were going to lead with them, I don't think I would ever want to roll more than one die because my chance of failing 2 or more dice is much higher with these low-quality troops.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. So, anyways, I got 2 activations for the leader here, 6 and 4. So I'm going to put one next to the leader to remind myself that he's got an extra action, and he's going to use the other action to try to move these troops here.
Okay.
And I'm going to be bold.
What?
And roll 3 dice against.
I like it.
Against a quality of 4 for the leader. All right. So I have a 2, 2, and a 3. Holy cow, that is really bad. So, okay, so I have 3 failures. The French have a chance to react with 3 dice for any one unit. I wonder where he could use it.
Probably right here.
May I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
Because, again, the cab, right, because the infantry cannot go into a push distance, but cavalry can. So now that I've come out of square, if you make even, 1 success, you can charge me. So go ahead and roll 3 dice there. I'm not trying to tell you what to do.
Right.
If I were you, that's what I would do.
So can I use one on another unit?
No. You have to use all 3 dice on one unit that you picked. But now the thing is,
I fail. That's no big deal.
It is no big deal,
It's
right?
my turn, so.
Okay. Now what quality are they again? For doing this?
3.
All right. So
2
you receive 2. In fact, with the leader here, you receive 3 successes. So you can approach me, get an approach distance with only 1. Go ahead and move them up. It only takes 1 action to get within an approach distance of me. So that means you still have 2 more actions that you can add to here. So, all right. So let's add up the dice. You're going to need a lot more dice there, Charles. 5 dice because they're dragoons. Okay. I have 3 dice for being attacked in infantry and attack column. I also have 1 extra die for your 1 disruption. You have 5 dice for being dragoons. Now you also have, if you want, you can also add up to 2 more dice for the extra actions that you received.
I'll add 1 more.
Or you can add 1 more. All right, so you're going to save 1 of those for the contact.
Yep.
All right, so very good. So you got 6 French dragoon dice against 4 Austrian infantry dice.
Uh-oh.
All right, 5, 5, and 4 with a 1 left over. All right.
This is not good.
All right, so let's add these up here, or let's compare these. All right, so yours top is a 4, mine top is a 5. Then I have a 5 to your 3, and a 4 to your 2. All right. Okay, so 5 to the 4, that means you take a disruption. All right, so the dragoons take some musket fire on the way in. So they go from 1 to 2 disruptions. And now the 5 to a 3 and a 4 to 2 means I get 2 actions. Mm-hmm. So now I cannot retreat from cavalry because they're too fast. But with one of my actions, I can go into square.
Okay.
Okay, which I will do. Now at this point, the cavalry cannot move into contact with me because I don't have 3 disruptions. So the end result of it is the cavalry did not even have an action. Well, they did have an action left over, so they could, if I had not gone into the square, they had an action left over to move into contact. But now that I'm in square and I do not have 3 disruptions, they have to retreat. So it's one long stick directly to the rear.
Into the water.
Yes. All right. So they took some casualties there. Not too bad. All right. Word about cavalry disruptions as well. Cavalry can only rally from disruption 3 to disruption 2. So if you go down to a red disruption, then you can rally from that.
Okay.
Okay. All right. But now here's the thing: is you got that reaction when I rolled 3 dice and I failed all 3. So I don't even get the extra action from my leader. Now it is your turn. Who's activating first, by the way?
Oh, I'm sorry. You said the leader cannot give activations to here, so
Well, not if they're going to attack.
all right, we'll just do these guys first.
All right. So go ahead and roll.
Okay.
All right. A 3 and a cock die roll. 3 and 2. All right. Now those guys are standard infantry. So the 3, though, because of the proximity leader, the 3 becomes a 4, and the 2 becomes 3. It's just not good enough.
2 actions.
All right. So there's one failure. I get to react. I'm going to pick this unit right here. I'm going to attempt to change formation. A 4. All right. So I got it. I can come out of square formation and be ready to receive an infantry attack if he wishes.
Okay.
All right, so you still have 1 action. What do you wish to do? Okay.
Not close enough to do that.
Well, no, I mean you have to move in order to get there. So you have an action. You can move forward.
Okay.
Yeah, because remember you're
But I
moving.
cannot move in within this distance, right?
Well, no. If you want to attack, you move up to that distance. You move up to short distance. So all you have to do is move up this little bit here. Okay, and so now we would resolve with your 1 success. You move up to approach distance. It does not take an action to actually resolve the approach.
Yeah.
Okay, it's automatic. So let's go ahead and do it. All right, so we're both in attack columns. That's 3 dice apiece. Go ahead and lay them out.
Okay.
Okay, now you have better skirmishers because I really don't have any, so you get an extra die. I have the bigger battalion, combat 60 or combat 4, so I get an extra die for that. I further get an extra die for the disruption you suffered earlier. Okay, so is it 5 Austrian dice to 4 French dice? Let's go ahead and roll them.
Okay, 6.
6, 6.
5, 2, 2.
4, 3, 3. Okay. All right, the first die, the highest die is a 6 to a 6, which is a tie. So we each take a disruption. Okay, so I'll take your 1 disruption, and you are now at 2 disruptions. Second die is a 6 to a 5, and then the third die is a 4 to a 2. So the Austrians actually have 2 actions. And so what I am going to do then is I'm going to counterattack. So I'm going to move into contact with you, and we'll resolve this combat. Okay. So once again, you have 3 dice for being an attack column. You have 1 extra die for my disruption. Okay. I'm going to have 3 for being an attack column. I have an extra 1 for having a higher combat value. Then I'm going to get 2 for your disruptions, and I'll get 1 more for being not in the stream and you're in the stream.
Okay.
Okay. So let's go ahead and resolve the contact.
Oh boy.
All right.
I think you got me on this.
All right. All right, so
3, 2,
6,
1, 1.
3, 3. And then here's my extra dice. Okay. All right, so in the contact, 6 to a 3 means the Austrians have won the combat. The 3 to a 2 means that you take another disruption, which would take you to 3. Okay. The French, having lost combat, would retreat. And on the third die, it's a 3 to a 1. I beat you there, so they take a further disruption for the pursuit. So that's their 4th disruption, and that battalion is picked up.
Okay. It's okay. They did their job.
They did their job. Yes. They absorbed some hits. They bloodied the Austrian battalion there. All right. Who's next?
We will do the cavalry.
All righty.
So it's an action. Oh, you said, sorry, red to.
Right. They can rally from a red to a yellow, from 3 to 2, but they cannot rally from 2 to 1.
Okay, here.
Okay.
1, your reaction.
Okay, my reaction. I'm going to try to react with this battalion in the woods here. Okay, it was a 2. I failed.
My reaction is my action is to change formation.
All right.
These guys here.
Okay.
2 successes.
All right, very
So
good.
I'm gonna move up and change formation. And these guys here. This one.
Failure. All right, I'm going to attempt.
Well, he's within 2.
Oh, when he's veteran, right?
I'm sorry.
So, he is veteran. Yes. All right, so he's veteran, so the 2 becomes a 3, which is their quality, so he does get to move once.
Okay.
Very good.
All right, and these guys here. Good.
Okay, very good. So they get to do some kind of action here.
I'm just going to move up.
Okay, don't get too close to your friends though, remember?
Does the, yeah, that's right.
It's not,
the
not
leader
here,
doesn't count there, right?
but yeah, it's the other battalions. Okay.
Okay, so he did something. The guys in the woods.
Right over here. All right. So,
Failures.
2 failures. All right, so I have 2 chances to react here. Once again, with this battalion right here. All right, a 3 and a 5. The 5 is just enough for me to about face and turn around to face you. All right. Okay, and that was 2 failures, so it is now the French turn. All right. Let me start with this battalion right here.
Austrian turn.
Austrian turn, yes. 5 and a 2. All right, 1 failure, 1 success. So with the 1 failure, where do you wish to react?
In the woods.
Right over here?
Mm-hmm.
2.
Failure.
Failure. All right. Okay, so the Austrians here are going to. Now I'm going to come back. Now the cavalry's gone. We're nearly gone. Okay, that was them. All right, then this battalion right back here. Okay, 5 and a 5. That is 2 actions. Sorry. All right. Okay. Actually, I guess the whole brown area is supposed to be woods, isn't it?
I was thinking where the trees are is woods, and the brown area is just.
All right. Well, all right. So if we're doing that, then I'll move this far to get there.
Come the infantry.
Yes. Trying to get these guys to where they can be of some use. All right. Then the artillery. I'm going to attempt to move them. I'm going to attempt them with 3 dice. Where's the die?
It's under the chair. die down.
Yes. All right. All right. 6, 6, and 2. All right. So that is 2 successes, 1 failure. So where do you wish to react somewhere?
Of course I do.
All right. Where are you going to react?
In the woods.
In the woods. Okay. Rolling 5. All right. So
Yes.
they have the ability to move up to 1 short, but actually not getting within a short of my troops. So
Yeah.
just move up to there, basically.
Yes, please.
All right. All right. So
Pick a
just
few oranges while we're there.
just shy there. All right. Very good. Okay. All right. So my 2 actions are going to be to limber and then move forward. All right. Then the leader, I'm going to roll back to him. Oh, 2 failures. So there's no reactions on that, but that is a turnover. So it is now the French turn. All right. What is your first action?
The guys in the woods. We're gonna
All right.
do 2 to see if we can get those guys.
Okay.
2 successes.
2
Well, let's
successes.
see.
Well, yeah, because their quality is a
Yeah.
3.
Okay.
All right. So they're just going to go straight ahead?
Yep.
Okay. All right. And then once again, they're going to be getting within short distance of my guys right here. So let's go ahead and resolve that approach. So, all right. We're both in attack column formation, so it's 3 dice apiece. You have better skirmishers, so you get an extra die for that. You also get an extra die for my disruption. All right, so you have 5 dice, and I get 3 dice. I get 1 die for having the bigger battalions, a higher combat value. Okay. There's usually also a some kind of modifier for both of us being in the woods, but since we're both in the woods, we'll just waive that. So, all right. So you got 5 dice to my 4. All right. 5, 4, 3, and then 2. All right, and you have 6, 4, and 3. 6, 4, and 3 to my 5, 4, and 3. All right. So, all right. So the very first die is a French 6 to an Austrian 5. That means the Austrians take an additional disruption. Okay. The second die is a 4 to a 4. So we break ties by adding the next highest extra die. So the French have a 1, the Austrians have a 2. So the Austrians win that action. But then the third die is also a tie, and the French have an extra die, so they can break that tie. The French get an action. So both sides get an action. And for the Austrians, I'm going to just save that extra die for the combat. And you have an action you can actually close.
All right, so I still have 1 action left. I had 2 successes.
Oh, yeah, 2 successes. All right, so you have an extra action. The action you earned in the approach can be an extra die when you go into combat.
Yep. Okay.
All right, so let's go into contact here.
Yep.
All right, so once again, I have 3 dice for being an attack column, 1 for higher combat, and then 1 for the action I earned. Okay, the French have 3 dice for being an attack column. They have an extra action that they earned in combat, and that's it, because there's no skirmishers once you get the contact. All right. Oh, but you get 2 2 extra dice for the 2 disruptions I have. All right. So I knew there was some other advantage that you have. All right. Rolling dice. All right. 6, 5, and 4.
6, 4, 3. See them all.
All right.
Yep.
Well, almost.
Yep.
Except that, yeah, all right, those are my extra dice. All right, so focusing on the first die, we both have a 6, which is a tie. Now, when you break ties for the combat resolution, the very first thing you do is you see who has fewer disruptions. The French have fewer disruptions, so they win the combat. The Austrians will be the ones retreating. The second die, though, has the Austrian 5 beating the French 4, so the French take a disruption in the fighting. And then the Austrians retreat, and the third die is an Austrian 4 to a French 3, so the Austrians get off without further losses. Okay. All right, so the French have taken the ground. They've taken it with losses, and the Austrians have gotten away without additional losses after the firefighting in the woods. All righty. Okay, who is next? I'm sorry we have not had any artillery fire yet in this game. We'll have to demonstrate how that works.
Coming over here for sure.
Yes, but we'll see what we can do about that.
We'll do artillery.
Okay. Speaking of artillery.
1 success.
Well, I think with the proximity of the leader, measure the distance from the leader of the artillery. Two medium.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, so the 3 becomes 4, so you have 2 actions with the artillery.
And unlumber. That's the second.
All right, very good. Okay, and they can face any direction you wish when you unlumber. Okay.
All right, so that's artillery.
Yeah, and keep in mind they only shoot straight ahead, so you might want to, I don't know if you want to face the enemy that's closer to you. Okay, who's next?
Cavalry.
Okay. Okay, ooh, 2 successes.
Yes. So
all right.
We're coming into there.
Okay, so remember you're down to medium coming out of the stream, but I think even with a medium distance move, you should be able to get within close range of me.
Would both of them be medium or just the first one?
Just the first one, because after that you're out of it. All right, so take your 2 disruptions with you. All right, so let's go ahead and resolve the approach. Dragoons get 5 dice.
Can I use one of those actions to reduce this? Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Well, no,
I'm asking about cavalry. So.
It'll be, no, they can't rally that, but
right.
What you can do is you can buy extra dice in the combat or the approach. Okay. All right, so let's start with 5 dice for Dragoons.
So I have 2 actions. I'm using 1 to do the move. I still have 1 action left. 5 actions for the dice for the Dragoons.
5 dice for the Dragoons. You also get an extra die for my disruption.
Okay.
So that's 6 dice. The Austrians have 3 dice for attack column, and then 2 dice for your 2 disruptions. Okay, so 5 dice to 6 French dice. Do you wish to use your extra die in the approach?
No.
Okay. You gonna save that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and roll. 6, 5, 4, 4, 1.
Ooh, I think you got this one.
All right. Okay, so our top dice to our lowest dice. All right, so top die is 6 to 4. So the Austrians beat the French. So the French cavalry takes an additional disruption.
These guys are terrible.
Yeah. Well, they're just unlucky here. All right, so in the second and third, the second die is Austrian 5 to French 4. So the Austrians win an action there. The third die is a 4 to a 4, which is a tie. So we break them with our first unused die. The Austrians have another 4. The French have a 3. So the Austrians win both of those dice. And so what I can do is I'll use one of those actions to cancel the extra action you had, and then actually the second action I'll just stand my ground. So
these guys are going to be routed out, aren't they?
They're not going to be routed. It would still take 1 more disruption to kill them. But now the thing is, since I've canceled your action, you have no more actions left to close to contact. So you will have to withdraw 1 long distance straight to the rear.
Okay.
And that'll be the end of the action. So with a good volley, the French Dragoons have been pushed back. All right, who is next?
Here.
Okay, 2 successes.
And we're going to oblique.
Okay.
And that's just...
Yeah, you can go up to 45 degrees.
So that's 1.
Right.
And then into the woods for 2.
Okay.
Yeah. That's as close as I can get.
Right, that's fine. Yeah. All right.
I can back up a little bit of this.
No, that's okay. I think you're fine.
Okay. here.
Okay.
2 successes.
Very good.
So here.
Okay.
Is this guy just pushed out of the way?
You can just push them out of the way slightly, just the minimum necessary.
Okay.
That's going to be 2 successes.
Oops. Going to. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, really, you shouldn't even have to move them because you're going to leapfrog them when you move that unit there.
Oh, okay. That's 1. 2.
Yes. Very good.
Last guys.
Okay.
You have a reaction.
All right, I have a reaction. So my first reaction is going to be this guy right here.
Okay. I'll go ahead and finish this up.
All right, and I failed. So okay, so is that all your actions then?
That's it.
Alrighty.
Now I do where I retreated back here.
Right. Now that's not a proximity violation because artillery and cavalry and our infantry artillery can be closer to infantry or cavalry than very short.
Okay.
All right. So starting with this battalion right over here. Okay, a 3 and a 2. I have 2 failures, so you get to react with 2 dice, and then it'll be your turn.
Here.
Mm-hmm. 6 and 4, 2 successes.
So
you can actually rally that 1 disruption off, so you go from 3 disruptions to 2.
Yeah.
Okay. And you still have one reaction left, or 1 action.
So
Medium going across the stream. Okay. All right, just take your disruption with them. There you go.
Keep trying to leave it behind.
I wonder why. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so it is now your turn.
Okay. This is where it gets messy.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm gonna try on the AUG. See, that's your guy. Two here.
All right. Okay, 3 and a 4. That will be 2 successes, thanks
Right,
to
so
your leader being close by.
we're coming into there.
All right. So just even 1 short because of the terrain will be enough to get you within short range of me.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so let's go ahead and add up our dice. Well, first of all, you have an extra die because you had 2 successes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you get 3 dice for being attack column. You'll get skirmishers. You get an extra die because of my disruption.
Okay.
I get an extra die for higher combat value. Okay. Better terrain doesn't come into play yet because this is the approach phase here. So 4 Austrian dice to 5 French dice, or 6 if you want to use your second action. You gonna say that?
Yeah.
All right. Let's go ahead and roll them. Oh man.
Ooh.
Why do they go in the woods? Okay.
Because they want to die.
All right. So 5, 4, 3, and 2. All right. So we have a lot of ties here. All right. So the first die is the disruption die. We have a tie there, so that is going to be an extra disruption on each side. So I go from 1 to 2. You go from 0 to 1. Second die is a 4 to a 4, so it's a tie. We add our highest unused die. So that's a 6-6. It's still a tie. There's no action from that. But the third die is a 3-3. That's also a tie. So you add your last unused die, which is a 1, that breaks the tie in favor of the French. The French get an extra action. So you get an action from approach. You still have an extra action from your activation. So you have 2 actions. 1 to close. So go ahead and close.
Yep.
And then you'll have the extra action. Now you're out of the stream at this point. And you'll have an extra action to add an extra die.
Okay.
All right, so let's add them up again. We have 3 dice each because we're attack columns. I get 1 for higher combat, and I get 1 for the disruption on you. You have the extra die, because of the extra action you had, and then you also get 2 dice for my 2 disruptions. All right, so now we have 6 French dice to 5 Austrian dice. Go ahead and roll.
6, 5, 4.
6, 5, 5, 4, 1. All right. Okay, so first die is a 6 to a 6. That is a tie. So you break the tie. The first step is seeing who has fewer disruptions. That will be the French. So the French will win this and push the Austrians back. The second die determines who gets a disruption, and it's a tie. So we break the tie with our highest unused die. So that's a 1, or did you have the 3 in there too? Is that part of it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you have a
I
3.
had 6 die. 1, 2, 3.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have a 5 plus 3. I have a 5 plus 4, so I actually win that. So the French are actually the one taking the disruption from the middle die. And then third die is a 5 to a 5, which is a tie. So we break that tie with our next unused die, which is a 1 to a 1. So it's still a tie after that. So the Austrians retreat, but they won't be taking an additional disruption due to pursuit. So they get away. But now we have a proximity violation with this battalion back here. So if I get any reactions, my first order of business is to correct that. All right, so that's that attack there. What is your next action?
Two in the middle.
Okay.
I apologize. When it gets this late at night,
That's
I start
okay.
forgetting things.
I think probably if we get to like 9:45, which would be like another 15-20 minutes,
Yeah.
we should probably call it.
Okay, so these guys acted. The cavalry have not, right?
No, I don't believe they have.
It was like
Because
basically beginning of my turn.
they acted on the reaction on the last 2 failures of my turn. So now they have a chance to actually activate.
Okay, so we'll try that.
Okay. All right. So the 3 should be a success, but the 1 should be a failure there.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So as I said, the first thing I have to do on my first chance to react is to fix this proximity violation. And I do that by moving one of the offending battalions at least very short distance from the other. And that's what I've done. I know it looks odd, but it preserves the separation between battalions that actually make this game look more Napoleonic. All right. Very, very good, young man. Okay. So we have another cavalry approaching, some infantry here. All right.
So we only have 1 action there. That's as close as we can get. We cannot close that deal.
Well, you could, because again, as long as you get within very short distance, you resolve the approach automatically. It does not require an action. And you could...
Didn't I have to stop at short?
No, short distance.
Okay.
The rules say short, although maybe he meant very short, but we're just going to go with the rules as written.
Okay.
So so we resolve the approach, and if you happen to win an action in the approach, then you will be able to close. So let's go ahead and resolve that. I have 3 dice for being in attack column. You get 5 dice for being dragoons.
Yep.
Okay. I get 2 dice for your 2 disruptions, and then you get 2 dice for my 2 disruptions. Okay, and you also have an extra die that you can use. Well, actually, no, you only had 1 action this time around. All right. And then I also get 1 for having a combat of 6 to your combat of 5.
Right.
Okay, because they're such huge battalions in this early period. Okay.
655.
Okay.
Ooh,
Okay.
2 6s.
Interesting.
Oh my gosh.
All right, and then a 1, and all the rest of my dice are 1s. Okay, so here we go. We have a 6 is the tie on both on the first dice on both, and so the first tiebreaker that we go to is to see who has fewer disruptions. Well, we have exactly the same number of disruptions. So then the next thing we do is we add unused dice. So I'll add a 1. The French add a 4. So now with the 4, the French have a 10, the Austrians 7. The French have actually won the combat. All right. So when it's cavalry, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. We're still doing the approach. So actually, let's take off our unused dice. The 6 to a 6 actually means that we each take a disruption. All right. So we go to 3 disruptions, to 3 disruptions. Okay, I'll take those. And then, all right, so then the next dice are going to be actions. All right, so the Austrians have a 6 to a French 5. So the French get an action. The French have a 5 to a 1.
Austrian get an action.
The Austrians get an action, and then the French have an action. All right, so I am going to form square, but now because I have 3 disruptions, the French can actually close if they wish.
Well, sure.
All right, so let's go ahead and see what happens. So go ahead and let's move them in. All right. Okay, so one last thing. So cavalry, dragoons, yeah, combat dice. Infantry in square will have 2 dice. All right, but then in contact they will have square approached by cavalry get +3 dice. Okay, so a total of 5 dice for the square. Then I'll get 3 dice for your 3 disruptions. You have 5 dice plus 3 dice for my disruptions. Okay.
So 5 plus 3?
Yes, +3 for my 3 disruptions. Okay. And actually, come to think of it, that +3 for square versus cavalry only applies in an approach, doesn't apply in contact. All right, so it's 5 Austrian dice versus 5, 6, 7, 8 French dice.
Did that include the extra die I had for the winning the third dice on the approach?
Well, no, you winning the die and approach was the action you had to close to approach.
Okay.
All right. Okay. All right. So here's what happens. On the first die, the French 6 beats the Austrian 5. And so at this point, it's the Austrian battalion is just going to get wiped out. It's 1 disruption away from breaking, but so that's what's going to happen. The second die is a French 5 to an Austrian 4, so the Austrians would take an additional disruption anyway. And then the 4 to a 3 would be an extra disruption during pursuit, but this battalion is wiped out to a man. And the French cavalry take the ground. Okay. Okay. All right, so it is now your turn, or your next action, if you have anybody left.
I think that's it.
Is that it? Okay. All right, let's go with the Austrian artillery. I'm gonna be bold and roll 3 dice. I roll 3 failures. So the French get to react with 3 dice. Who's reacting?
And you said the reactions cannot be used to rally, correct?
Well, no, you can. Now, but the thing is, in order to rally, say for this guy right here, you have to get over one long from the enemy. So they would have to pull back one at least, and then they could rally from 3 disruptions to 2, and then they have another action to do something else.
All right, we're going to try all 3 on this one right here.
Okay.
And we're looking for 4s.
Those 3s are better because those are veteran shoes.
3, 3, 3.
All right, that's 3 successes.
So we're going to wheel.
Okay.
Right to you.
All right, now here you have a flanking approach.
That's what I'm looking for.
That's what you're looking for. Okay. So here we go. So first of all, we are going to add 3 dice because we're in attack column. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We each have an extra die because of the other disruption on the other unit.
Right.
Okay, so now we're up to 4 dice. You have better skirmishers, so you add an extra die.
Yep.
Add an extra die. Okay, there you go. And then since you're flanking me, you get 2 extra dice.
Okay.
All right, and then I just get 1 extra die for better combat value. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and roll these.
No whammies, big bucks.
6, 5, 3, 3, 2. All right, I'm glad we got a tie here, or at least there will be a chance that normally we would both take a disruption on the first die because they're a tie.
Right.
But because you're not in my forward arc, you're not straight ahead of me or directly in front of me, you do not take a disruption, but I do. Okay, then on the second die, it's a 5 to a 5, which is a tie, so we break ties with our first unused die. You have a 4. Okay.
This goes on the second
no,
die.
on the second die. On the second die, yeah. So now it's a French 9 to an Austrian 8. The French got an action. Okay, and then on the third die, it's a French 5 to an Austrian 3. So the French get 2 actions. Okay. All right. So you want to close?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. So that means of the 2 actions you won for that. And actually, did you have any actions left over from when you?
So I wheeled and I moved, so I have 1 left over.
So you have 1 left over. All right. So you gained 2 actions, and you had 1 left over. So you have a total of 3 actions.
Yep.
One of them is to close. So you have 2. Right now you have 2 extra actions. Okay. So to that you'll add your 3 dice for the attack column. Mm-hmm. You'll add 2 dice for my disruptions, and you'll add 2 dice for flanking me. I have 3 dice for the attack column. I have 1 for higher combat value, and I have 1 for the disruption that you have. So it's only 5 dice against how many dice there? What do you got there?
14.
14. No.
9.
9. Okay. So 5 Austrian dice to 9 French dice. We'll see what happens.
Pretty good.
Yeah, not too bad.
Done good, Jim.
All right. So on the first dice, it's a tie. We break ties, first of all, by seeing who has fewer disruptions. That would be the French. So the Austrians are going to take it on the chin. The second die is a tie. So we break that with our extra dice. So 5 to your 4.
Yeah. Okay,
so it's an Austrian 11 to a French 10. So the French take an extra disruption. Okay, so I think consistently the Austrian bigger battalions have made a difference in causing extra casualties on the French.
Absolutely.
All right, then the third die is a 5 to 5 to tie. So we break the tie with our next unused dice. The French 9 to the Austrian 8 means that on the retreat, the Austrians take a further disruption. All right.
Well, this is good.
Yeah, this is very good.
So just blocked your other guys from coming. Oh, you're going towards the building.
So it would seem to me that would be, and actually they're going to end up on the other side of it, that they would go directly away from the enemy causing the disruption. So, all right, so these guys are pretty well worn and sowing confusion in the backfield there. So, all right. Who's next?
So that was 3 fails, right, for you that I was reacting to. I rolled 3 successes.
Oh, yeah. Actually, that should
That
not
was
have
all.
been. Yeah, actually, on a reaction, that should not have been a combat, but that's okay. We'll just gloss over that.
Okay.
So, you want to keep going for the rest of the turn?
Unlimit your artillery and let's see how this thing works.
Okay. All right. So
Put them anywhere.
yeah. All right. So just putting the artillery right there. So fire against your cavalry. So, so here's what would happen: is I would roll a couple dice. Well, let's say I get one action. All right. So they're unlimbered. They would fire. So first of all, as medium artillery, they get 4 dice. Okay. In short range, they get another die. And then furthermore, they would get 3 dice for the disruptions on your cavalry. Okay, so it'd be this many dice against the 5 dice for your cavalry. Okay, so dragoons get 5 dice. All right, so let's roll them. And again, it's going to be highest to lowest. And then here's my extra dice. All right, so the highest die is a 6. There's no effect on a tie, so then we go by adding our next highest die.
So we got more disruptions in you.
Well, yes, so that's why I added so many extra dice.
Oh, okay.
So, all right, so I add an extra die here. So this is not, it's not resolved the same way as combat. So I add a 4, you add, your next highest die was a 2. So now it's 10 to 8. All right, so that would be the extra disruption. All right, the other dice would handle, would tell you that you have to retreat. Well, since you won the second die, you would not have to retreat. And then the third die, okay, so here's the thing. I beat you on the third die, which means that the next unit behind the one being shot at takes another disruption.
Oh, wow.
So this one's destroyed, and then this one goes from 2 disruptions to 3 on the balance through because I won on the third die. And that's how artillery works.
Very cool.
All right. Okay. All right.
That was fun.
That was a lot of fun. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Look forward to seeing this on YouTube. And
Yeah.
everybody else out there, go to GaneshaGames.com and pick up Drums and Shakos Large Battles for $8 PDF.
Yep.
All right. Good night.